Welcome. In this tutorial, I will show you how we can create a Django RESTful API to serve as a backend and how we can connect that with a front-end React application. So there is a lot of things to cover and I will go fast. If you'd like to know that more in details, I have a course on Udemy. At the moment it's almost 12 hours, but if I will finish it will be probably around 20 hours. So I will provide a coupon code with this good price for you if you're interested. So that will be on the comments there. So if you'd like to know more, go ahead and you can take a look at this one. So what we will actually use in our tutorial. First, we'll use a Django framework that's based on the Python, and with the Django framework we'll also use the Django REST framework, which is that will help us creating our API. On the front end, we'll use our React.js, very popular front-end framework. To have that and working with that, we'll need to have a few things installed. So we'll need to have a Node.js, so go ahead and install that from this website. Also, we'll need to have a Python installed on our machine. You have a download and you need to have a Python at least 3.5 in order to work with the latest version of Django. Also, as for a IDE, I will use a PyCharm for writing my Python, and I will use Visual Studio Code for writing our React script. I have all of that installed, so go ahead and do that first, and then we can continue our tutorial. So I will go to the terminal here, I will go to desktop, and then I will go to React Django folder that I have prepared, and inside I have two folders, backend and frontend. So I will go to the backend first, and let's create a few things here. So I will create a Django application here. So what I will need to do is I will need to create a new virtual environment. So I'll do Python 3 venv, and I will name it the same way, venv. So that will create a new virtual environment, and I will also need to activate it. So I will activate it now. And the way you activate it is different on different operating system. I mentioned that in the course, I mentioned that before. So if you are curious, just Google it, how to activate the virtual environment on your operating system, and you will easily discover that. So once I have that, I will install a few things. And I will use the pip. Once you have the Python installed, the pip comes with it. So pip install, we'll need to have a Django. We'll need to have a Django REST framework all together. And then also I will need to have Django course headers with slashes. So at the moment, 3 packages will be installed for me. Okay, that is done. You can do ls. We have that installed in the virtual environment. So what we can do is I can do Django -admin, and then we can do start project and name of our project. Let's say I will call it backend API. Now, once we have the backend API project, what we can do is we can create our application. So I will go to the project where we just created, so backend API here, and what I will do is I will do Django admin start app, and I will name our application. You can have more than one application inside your product. I will name it API. That's a broad name, but we'll use it. Okay, we have everything set up here. What we can do is we can switch now to the PyCharm, and we can finish set up things there. Okay, I have that folder open. You can see my virtual environment and backend API here, so I can open that. Also, what's handy here is I also have that terminal open here, so I can finish doing things directly here. So I am at the moment in the backend API folder, so everything is available for me here. What I can do is I can do Python 3 manage PI, and then I can do migrate So we will migrate all the built-in things in the Django into our database. And then what I can do is I can do Python 3 manage py create super user. And I will leave it as blank, so that will be the name that I'm currently logged in. Email address, I can leave it blank. Password, I will do the same, Christian. And I will repeat it again. And password is too similar to the username. I don't mind. This is not a production version, so we have our user created. Okay, so what we will need to do? I will go to the backend API here into the settings, and I will change a few things here. First thing, I will need to add the installed apps. So I will add REST framework, course headers, and then also I will add our API like that. So once we have that, I will do migrate again. And you can see nothing is to apply. Sometimes when you add installed apps, you will have some migrations with it, and then you apply it to your database. Whatever you do migrate, that means you take the migrations and apply it. So what we can do now is we can start our server. So if I will do run server like that, it will start a new server. So you can copy that and paste it in the browser, or you can just click on it. And you can see here our Django application is up and running. So this is already working. We haven't done much yet, but at least the application is ready. So we will go to back to our PyCharm and we'll do a few things. So I will open API, which is our application, and we'll need to add a few things. At the moment we don't have anything in the models, but we will use the models that are coming built in with Django. So at the moment we don't need to add anything here. So what I will do is I will create a new view set for our users, and also I will create a new serializer. So let's start with the users first. What I will need to do is from REST framework, I will import view sets. Also from Django, contribute, authentication, models, I will import user. So once I have these two things imported, I can create a new class and I can name it user view set like this. You can name it whatever you like, but that's the conversion I have. So view set and the name of the model, and then we can use the view sets we imported, and then we will use model view set, and that will come with all the methods, and we can specify that we'd like to use the query set of the model user and then objects, and then I will select all for them, all like that. Also, what we can do is serializer class, we can use the user serializer. At the moment, we don't have that user serializer. So what we need to do, I will create a new file, serializers, pi, and here we can create a new serializer for our user. What I will do is I will copy that and paste it here. Instead of view sets, we'll import serializers, and we'll also need that model. So I will create another class and I will name it exactly as we have it here. So user serializers, and I will use serializers model serializer. Another thing what I need to do is I will need to do class meta, and inside here we can do model. It's going to be our user, and also I will specify the fields, and that's going to be array, and I will have it ID, and then I will have username, and also I will have a password. And we will come back to this later on. At the moment we have that user serializer, so what I will need to do is I will also need to import it. So from serializers import user serializer. Okay, at the moment we don't have any errors, so what we'll need to do is also I will create a specific URL, so new file URLs PI, and I will put all the URLs we have there. So at the moment I have in my backend API, which is our project URLs, like that. I can remove the comment. And from here I will redirect. So I will copy this. I will redirect to my URLs, and then I will have a specific URLs to our API in the separate file here. So I will import from Django conf URLs. I will import include, and I can use this function to include the other URLs I have. So I will include API URLs. Okay, so once I have that, I can copy some of it, and I will create a new URLs path here, but this time we are not gonna include the admin again and API. What we'll do is we'll have a empty path, and we'll register all our path with a router. So I can import from REST framework, import routers, and I will create a new router. It will be equal to routers, and I will use default router. So what we can do is we can, on our router, we can register, and I will register users. That will be our endpoint, and I will register user view set. At the moment I don't have it imported, so from views import user view set, and we have that. So at this point I have this on the router. So what I need to do is I will include this router URLs. So what I have here is on the main URL file I have admin, which is comes by default with a Django, and then I have API. So that API will redirect to this user, and then I have whatever I have registered on the user. So to get to the users, I will have localhost /API/users. So we have that. So no module named a router. We have some errors here, and this one we need to have it like that because we refer to this local variable. So I will save it now, and I will kill it now, and I will run the server again. So at the moment server is up and running. So what we can do is I can open up Postman. Postman is very popular tool for testing the API. So what I can do is I can create a new tab here, and if we go here, that's our starting point, that's our URL. If I will copy that to the Postman, and then I can do /API and /users, and then / and I will use method get on it. So I will save it, send it, and you can see here that's my user I've created with a create super user. So our application is running. We have our endpoint already here, so that will be available for us to use it. In that case, we can actually fetch our data from our API inside our front end. So at the moment we have users and everything is unlocked, and you can query the users. If you have more users in your database, then you will see it all of them, and the ID, username and password, these are the fields I specified here. So ID, username and password. Basically what we will need to do is we'll need to have a few things set up. We'll need to have authentication for the specific user, and also we'll need to have a way to create a user. So to create a new user, what I can do is I can do on Postman. On the same endpoint I will have post, and then what I will need to do is on the body I will do form data, and what I can do is I can specify the key and the value. So I will now have username, and let's say I will have Christian 2, and then I will provide password, and then Christian2 as well. So if I will send it on the same endpoint, users with a post, sending, you can see here ID, username and password has been sent. If I will change it back to the get and send it again, you can see at the moment I have 2 users in our database, but there is one problem. The password is a normal text. So what we need to do is we'll need to hide this password from the view, and also we'll need to hash the password that is coming from here. So in that case, whenever someone will query the user from the database, he's not gonna see any password. So let's do that now. So we'll go to the serializers. So I will do extra quarks, new object, and I will do password. That's going to be another object, and I will do write only. That's going to be true. Also, I will do required. It will be true. So what I'm saying, this is write only, so it's not going to be displayed. It will be skipped when it's rolling, but it is required if you want to create a new one. So if I will save it now, I go to the Postman and I will send it. You can see ID and username. The password is hidden because it's a write only. So what we'll also need to do is we'll need to override the built-in method we have for this user, and we'll use our own. In that way we can hash this password. So I will do def create, and that will be validated data. So we'll have user, and it will be user objects, create user, and normally I can pass the username and password. What I can do is I can do asterisk validated data, and then I can do return user. So basically I recreated built-in the function, but this one I create an object user with the built-in option, and I take the validated data, which is the data that is coming that from the form. We send it that Christian2, and that will create a user, but this time it will hash it. So for the moment, if I will comment this out, and let's come back to our Postman. Here, if I will send it to get, you can see my password is back again. So let's create another post and create Christian3 and Christian3. So I will say that send it now. You can see this time the password has been hashed. So now our new method is working. I will do get, and we have this one is hashed because we created with a create super user. This one is not passed because we didn't have that method yet, and this one is passed again. So everything is working fine. Now we can uncomment this, and I will come back here, and then we will hide our password. So another get, sending, and everything's fine. So what we can do is actually we can list a user, and we can also create a user. What we'll need to have to our user the way to authenticate. So we will send a username and password, and in that way our user will be authenticated. So let's do that now. So I will go to the views here, API views here, and we can add another authentication, or I can actually create that in our main URLs here. So we'll have admin API, and we can add an extra one. So I'll do pat. I will need to import from REST framework authentication token views. I will import obtain authentication token, and I can use it here. So I will create a new path here, and that will be out like that. You can name it wherever you like, and then we'll use this here. Also, what we will need to do is you need to come back to the settings here, and we'll also need to add that authentication here. So I will do REST framework out token like that. So once we have that, I will stop the server. So Ctrl C, stop the server, and then we'll need to do Python 3 manage pi migrate. We also need to put a comma there, so that's the mistake. And then we'll migrate. That means we'll apply, as you can see from authentication token, we apply things to our database, and at the moment we can expect this users will have the token. So what I can do is when we go to our local server, when the Django is running, we can go to that admin section. At the moment our server is not running, so we need to run it again. So run server. This is running, so I will go here, and you can see that admin has been built in the URL, so it is available here, and I can authenticate with my super user. If you create a super user, it will have an access to this Django administration, and here you can see all the data you have in your database. So what I can do is I can go to the users. You can see all my users has been listed here, and I can go here and see more information about that user. So everything is working fine, but what I want to do is if I will go here, you can see that's a new token from the authentication token. And at the moment I don't have any tokens there. So what I will need to do is I will need to create a token for a user. And if I will select my Christian, I can save it, and that's my unique token for that user. The rest of users don't have it because I didn't have that yet when I created my user. So how can we actually do a token for the new users? If we go to the serializer, what I can do is I can do token. So I will do a token. First I will need to import it. So from REST framework, authentication token models, import token, and then I can do token dot objects, and then I will do create, and then I can specify user will be the user I have here. So once I have it, I can return it. So if I will save it now, going to the postman, let's do another post method here. So this time I will go for and for. So what I'm expecting, I might create a new user, and also I'm expecting to create a new token for this user. So I will send it. We have a new user created. So I'll go back here and we refresh this, and we have another token for this Christian 4. So at the moment we have our tokens created for us, and they are automatically generated. So how can we actually have that token back? So if I will use method get, and then I will do method authentication here. This is the URL that we set up here. So if I go to URLs, we have it here. So authentication, and then we use obtain authentication token method there. So if I will send the same username and password here, and so method get not allowed, I need to use the method post, sorry. So I send in here, and you can see in return I have the token. So this is the way I can actually log in my user. So what I can do is I can send this URL with the username and password, and I have the token. That will be my authentication. So that's one method that we will use. Another method will be API users. For post the username and password, and we'll create a new user names. So at this point our application is functional with the users. So what I can do is I can come back here, and then we can start building our front-end application. So I will go cd again. I have one more, and then we will go to cd front-end. And here we'll create a new React application, and we'll do that in the next video.